Bottom of the hour, next game on Get Up is called Slump or Jump Quarterback Edition. Harry, year 3 for C.J. Stroud. You expect him to slump or jump?
I'm going to go jump, Greeny. Look at 2024. The offensive line was atrocious. C.J. Stroud was second most in the NFL, only behind Caleb Williams. But also wide receivers were injured. He has a new offensive coordinator. I believe those two guys are going to hit it off. We make excuses for every other quarterback except Patrick Mahomes and C.J. Stroud. He still got it done last season.
And won a playoff game along the way. Lewis, let's talk about a fellow who was once a #1 pick. Kyler Murray, slump or jump in Arizona?
Yeah, I think he's going to make a jump. I think this entire football team is going to make a jump. They did a lot of good work in free agency. Look, he has some tremendous weapons on the perimeter. Trey McBride at tight end is fantastic. He gets talked about within football circles, but I think nationally he can have maybe one of those breakout seasons to where you start talking about him as one of the great tight ends in the league. Marvin Harrison Jr. He has to really burst onto the scene. From what I hear, he has been having a fantastic camp. They developed some more chemistry between him and Kyler Murray. I think Kyler takes off.
All right, and then let's talk about the Super Bowl champs, Jalen Hurts. It wasn't a sterling regular season. Obviously, the playoffs couldn't have gone better. Harry, do you expect a slump or a jump?
I'm going to go jump, just like Chris Cross told us in the 90s. Jump, jump. Jalen Hurts will make you jump. And it's because you're going to have more defenders stacking the box, right? That's going to leave man coverage one-on-one on the outside with Devontae Smith and also A.J. Brown. Dallas got it in the mix as well. Saquon being a receiver out of the backfield. So I'm going to go jump.
Let me give you the ultimate testament to how good and how determined Jalen Hurts has been. Kevin Petullo will be the offensive play caller for the Eagles this year. He'll be the 4th different offensive play caller that Jalen Hurts has had in his last 4 seasons. He's been the pass game coordinator each of those 4 years. So it's not like he's new to the building or new to the quarterback, but it's someone different calling the plays, and it has been that for him basically going all the way back to college. And if you listen to people who know what they're talking about, like Peyton Manning, they are very high on Jalen Hurts.
He's played so well in both those Super Bowls, but I like the way he goes about it. He calls me a lot. It asks me lots of questions. They actually run a lot of plays that we used to run, Sirianni to Frank Wright to Tom Moore, sort of that chain. And he calls me with very specific questions about certain plays. So he's a student of the game. You know, as another example, you think, he squats 600 pounds. He can, run over guys. He can throw it a mile. But his appreciation of the cerebral part of the game is what's impressive to me, and how he's taken his game to the next level. And I think the sky's the limit for this guy.
Have you ever met a more intense, serious human being than Jalen?
No.
It's almost intimidating when you're in the room with him.
All right, so it's an interesting conversation with Peyton Manning and Chris Collinsworth about the young dynamic quarterback. And now we know the football season is here because Sal Paolantonio is live on Get Up. The Eagles and the Browns are having joint practices, and Sal's going to cover both sides of them for us today. Sal, let's start there with the team you know so well. Jalen Hurts, we've talked about all the coaching turnover, obviously winning the Super Bowl MVP. How is he adjusting in year 1 with Kevin Petullo?
Well, Kevin Petullo is, as you mentioned, the 4th play caller in Jalen Hurts' ear in 4 years. If you go back to 6 years, it's the 6th play caller in his ear in 6 years, Greeny, and he's always had to adjust. But let me rephrase the question for you. It's really up to Kevin Petullo to adjust to Jalen Hurts, the Super Bowl MVP. And as you heard Peyton Manning just talk about, the fact that operationally, when you see Jalen Hurts up at the line of scrimmage, his ability to check with me, change the play, get out of bad plays and into good ones with Cam Jurgens and with his run coordinator, Jeff Stoutland, is amazing and was very evident during the Super Bowl. The 2 things that are evident in training camp is they want to be better in timing, going from huddle to the line of scrimmage. Not Chip Kelly fast, but faster and a little more consistency in the passing game.
It's so interesting to me when I hear Peyton Manning say they're running similar plays. They certainly don't look the same, right? Like when Peyton Manning runs a play, he's not a threat to run with the football. There's so many things that Jalen Hurts obviously does that Peyton Manning didn't do, and yet here's Peyton saying a lot of the concepts are actually the same, and that's the stuff that Philadelphia is running. They've been doing it behind this magnificent offensive line for the last several years. Well, there's no more Mekhi Becton. We got Landon Dickerson hurt. Is there a concern there? Is there concern about the foundation of their team, which is the offensive line?
Well, at right guard, Tyler Steen has moved in quite effectively during training camp. You never want to lose a guy like Landon Dickerson for any stretch of time. He is the highest paid guard in the NFL for a reason. Super tough, super smart, a great player. But when you look at last year, take a look at this graphic that we had prepared for Get Up. The Philadelphia Eagles had 28 different offensive line combinations last year, fourth most in the National Football League, and still went to the Super Bowl and won it, and still had Saquon Barkley as the leading rusher, and still had him as the offensive player of the year, and still Harry Douglas beat the Green Bay Packers twice. The Packers came close twice, but the Eagles beat them twice. And the reason is two words: Stoutland University.
Oh, yeah, it is.
They've got great depth, and they got a great offensive line coach. Stoutland University, as you can see, we got the t-shirts. T-shirts, get them online for Eagles Autism Foundation. This one's for Peter Schrager, so he can wear it around Manhattan. I'm going to wear this one in South Philly. We got one for Peter and one for me.
Jeff Stoutland, the outstanding offensive line coach. Sal, stay with us. Stay in the conversation here, because that's a big piece of it. And
Double XL, Sal. Thank you.
I hear, what is that? What is that? A night for you? Double XL. Okay, let's get serious here, because it's interesting. I don't even know what I meant by that. Here's what.
My nighty?
I started saying nightgown, and then I realized that's a ridiculous thing to say. And so let me just let's try and pretend that moment didn't happen. Okay, here's the question I have. Like Brian Windhorst always says in the NBA, winning a championship means never having to say you're sorry. And that's great. So they won the championship, and Jalen Hurts was the Super Bowl MVP, and he was brilliant in that game. So it makes it easy to completely forget that there were moments during last year where we were significantly questioning the ability of this offense to throw the ball. Are those days completely behind us? The A.J. Brown and all that stuff, is that all just over and done with now because of what they proved in January and February?
Well, it is for the time being,
Right.
until it rears its head again, until maybe there is some adversity that they hit as far as not being efficient, throwing the football, pushing the ball down the field. Then people will bring it up again. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it's not something that Philadelphia's sweating. I don't think it's something that they're worried about. If you look at Jalen's statistics, minus 20, 23, this is a guy who's been on the up and up in terms of passer rating, completion percentage, yards per attempt. 23 is when he had a bunch of interceptions. I think he had, upwards of, 15 plus. But then he cut him way down again. I don't think there's any concern about how he, to me, is developing as a passer of the football. And I think the reason why is because of what Peyton alluded to. The fact that he studies the game, not just from an offensive perspective, but what was Peyton the master at the most? It was about knowing what you were doing before you even did it defensively. Okay, being able to predetermine coverage rotations, really be able to see through disguises and all. And I think that is some of the stuff that will always be a work in progress with quarterbacks. It's going to be a work in progress with Jalen. He's going to have his stumbles. And the wide receivers, as we know, they want the rock all the time. They don't want any excuses. There's going to always be a little bit of friction. But this guy is on a nice, steady trajectory, just as he kind of really puts forth as a person, and nothing phases him. And that's the cool thing about him. You're about as comfortable with him as you are with any of these quarterbacks in terms of what you're going to get.
So Jalen Hurts is definitely going to get his opportunities this season because of Saquon Barkley in that run game. Now, it's easier said than done for the opposing team trying to limit that run game. But you better win on first and second down.
Yeah.
Because if you don't win on first and second down versus the Philadelphia Eagles, you're dead in the water. It's over for you. You're not going to stop them. So when you can win on first down and now you force a 3rd and 15, a 3rd and 9, and you can rush 4 and drop 7, you have a better chance in that capacity than playing man coverage on the outside.
Sure.
Jeremy Fowler does noble work polling everyone about the top 10 quarterbacks, top 10 wide receivers. I'd be curious if Jeremy was to poll GMs and coaches around the league what they think of Nick Sirianni. I don't know if he'd be top 10. And yet for that team, he's number 1. I feel the same way about Jalen Hurts. You might rather have Josh Allen. You might rather have Justin Herbert. Of course, on paper. For that team and for what they do, Jalen Hurts is the perfect quarterback. And that's the fit that matches.
Sal, give it a final word.
Well, I've been around this team for 34 years, Greeny, and I have not seen a player as focused and as determined to get back to the top of the mountain as Jalen Hurts this season.
he is the son of a coach. I always like those
Yep.
kind of guys.
Yep.
And you look at all of the adversity he's overcome in his career, Alabama to Oklahoma, into the NFL, and all the ups and downs. All right, Sal, stay close by because we'll come back to you a little later. He's covering Eagles and Browns. There's a Cleveland side to this as well. But I just wanted you to hear this in case you missed it. Sound off is just interesting people saying interesting things, and it doesn't get any more interesting than this. Oscar-winning actor Denzel Washington, maybe the greatest actor of our time, was on First Take yesterday. He is a big fan of the Dallas Cowboys, and he had this message for Jerry Jones.
I've been a Cowboy fan since the 60s. He's making it hard. Not to be a fan, because I'm still a Cowboy fan. I'm still going to have the star on the side of the hat. But he ain't thinking about us. He's thinking about his pocket. There's box office, and there's Oscars. Jerry, been a while, huh? Ain't been to the show, you wouldn't know. Wouldn't been to the show, you wouldn't know. Haven't been to the show, so you wouldn't know what it is to win. All money ain't good money, Jerry.
Say it again.
All money ain't good money, Jerry.
This was a performance in the literal sense of the word. And there was one moment in there that we didn't have it where he said there's box office and then there's Oscars. And Jerry knows box office, but Denzel knows Oscars. And it's been a long time since we've seen Oscars in Dallas.
The irony to all of this is that as they're doing that on First Take and it's flooding my timeline and I'm like, oh my gosh, Denzel Spike. Jerry himself is on a red carpet in LA for a movie about him.
Right.
And everyone's talking about this documentary about Jerry and Jimmy Johnson had a tweet last night that I thought was actually amazing. It said, Jerry is a master marketer and a Hall of Fame owner. Did not say winner, did not say team builder. Master marketer is the most backhanded compliment you can give someone, and Jerry Jones is a master marketer.
Of that, there is no question. I just wanted you to hear Denzel. It was extraordinarily powerful to watch.